Anyways, testimony part 3. Fast forward back to when we finally went to Garner Baptist Church, and I finally actually gave my life to Christ and actually understood and knew him for the first time. Even though everything I've been through, everything I'd been subjected to, their accident, the wreck, the miracles, all these things, I still was not ready to let God in, fully let God in and understand. I was every bit of 20 years old before I got there. 20 years old, and finally I gave my life to Christ. Finally. And that's when I went super God freak. Super God freak. I didn't cuss. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I wore very conservative clothing. I went full on 100% for Jesus. I went a little too crazy and over for news. I went ham for a very long time. Very long time. And then, life has a way of changing things. Life has a way of turning you jaded and doing things, and you start to backslide, and things happen in your life and all this stuff, and I just kind of started giving it up. I got a lot of things happen with me and my first husband, and a lot of tragedy and a lot of trauma. We had a baby. A whole lot of stuff happened. It made me slowly but surely kind of run away from God, because I got in that place again. I let everything from my past in. I let things in my life that I didn't need in my life back in. Went back down that same path of drinking, went back down that path. And I'm not talking just casually drinking. I'm talking about partying. We partied and we did all this stuff. We went right back to the people that we were and we said we weren't going to be. And we did it. We both did it. And where do you think that path led? Down the path of just getting worse and worse and worse, one thing after another. Took God out of our life, and bad things started happening. Because that always happens. As soon as you stop focusing on God, all that stuff that was there before is going to come right back, because you're not having that focus. You're not having that drive. You're not having all this stuff. You want to go back to what you know, what is comfortable, what is familiar, and that's what you chase. And I did. We both did. We all did. And we went right back down that path. And it took a very long time to get back. It took until probably 2018 till I finally went back to church. Not 2013. 2013 when I finally went back to church. Actually, it's 2012. Sorry, my dates are terrible. 2012, I started going back to church. We went back to the Palapena Cowboy Church. Is where I started. And I've been actually there since 2013. My phone's going nuts. I've been there ever since. So it might have been before 2013, because I've been there since the beginning. I don't know. I'm bad with dates. We went there, and I've been there ever since. Ever since. And I went in and out and in and out and in and out of my faith. I've had a lot of bad stuff happen between then and then. First husband, second husband. A lot of things in my life had led me as far away from God as possible. And I ran with it. I completely ran with it. I think I get back with God, and then something bad would happen. I go right back to that. I think I get back with God. I go right back to what I knew. And I just spent so long chasing the idea of God instead of actually submitting to God and doing what I need to do in those moments when things were the hardest, and the things were the suffering and the tragedy and the trauma and the grief and all these things that happened. I ran from God, because I didn't want to face anything. I didn't want to face anything. I just kept on running. And then the last 8 years of my life, maybe 10, has been full of so much betrayal and tragedy and stuff nobody should have to endure all at once, over and over and over again, one thing after another. It jaded me. It brought me back to my old self. It brought me back to the anger. It brought me back to the violence. It brought me back to the familiarity of just how you deal with this stuff. And instead of going to God, I went back to who I was. I went back to who I knew was safe, because I knew I could handle things if I dealt with it the way I handled it. And I was so farthest from the truth. I was so wrong. I dealt with things on my worldly self playing field instead of giving it to God. Took God completely out of everything, and my life suffered for it. My life, my family's life, everybody in my life suffered for it, because I went so far away from God that it was a snowball effect to everyone around me. And I will have to pay for that someday because I knew better. I 110% knew better. God had saved me through so many things and done so many awesome things for me. He had performed miracles and things for me and kept me alive when I should have been dead so many times, literally. And he brought me back from the pits of so many things, and I still slapped him in the face, and I didn't want anything to do with him because I thought I could deal with this for myself, because I let the anger and the violence and the everything else in my head cloud everything, because I didn't want to let God in. I didn't want to let him see what was in me. I didn't want him to see the person within. I didn't want him to see my soul, my heart, who I became, who I am, thinking I could hide it from him when you know you can't hide it from him. Well, God brings you through these things for a reason. And it sucks going through it. It's damn near killed me. Literally. Because that was the night I finally, what was it, like a year and a half, 2 years ago? I honestly don't remember the date because it isn't important to me anymore. I got to my lowest point and everything that was going on. And I've been thinking about it for a while. And I let the devil in my head. Majorly. And I finally decided I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to be here. I could not take this hurt anymore. I could not take this pain anymore. I could not take this anymore. All the anger and the violence and the hurt and the betrayal and the deception and all the things in the world that just kept on piling on me and piling on. I didn't care. I didn't care about my kids. I didn't care about what's going on. I didn't care about tomorrow. I didn't care about nothing. I cared about nothing. The devil got in my head so freaking hard. So fucking hard. Sorry. Mouth. The other thing I struggle with is my mouth. So hard that all it did was make me dark. I mean dark. Completely dark. And I couldn't get out of it. And I decided that night I was done. I was going to freaking just, I was done. And I called my brother that night. I talked to him for a while, told him what was going on, told him I might not be there tomorrow. I sat there in my bed, and that's the night I had never in my life screamed so much at God and cussed so much at God that I had that night. I let it all out like I was a word-vomiting lunatic. I screamed, I cussed, I let everything out. I let go, I submitted, I broke. I literally broke in every freaking possible way you can think imaginable. I broke to God, and I told him everything what I'd been dealing with, how not like he didn't even know. Again, like not like he doesn't know. I just, I went freaking 8 nuts on God that night, and I just let go, and I broke. And something in me changed that night. I had never once ever in my entire life of everything I've been through broke like I did that night with God. Never admitted all my shit like I did with that night with God. Never actually admitted everything like I did that night to God. I was ashamed. I was guilty. I was all these things I wanted to hold and keep it for myself. I didn't want to let God know about it. I didn't want to let him in my heart and my soul and know who I truly am. But that night I let it go. I put it at his feet. I broke. And that was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And let me tell you, every day since then has gotten better and better and better and better. And I've been a new person trying to do better and better and better. And it has not been an easy walk. It has been a slow crawl. But the longer you're in it, the longer you keep trying, the longer you keep pushing through and letting go and letting God and work on all these little broken pieces in you and let him in and let him know these things and let him understand who you are from your perspective and tell him and talk to him, have that relationship with him and actually let go and let him in. It is unbelievable how your life can change. It is absolutely unbelievable and you will not recognize yourself. Me now, I could never even look at myself who I was 2 years ago. That person was filth. That person was awful. That person was full of rage, anger, violence, all these things. Hurt, so much hurt that was literally blocking every blessing I could have had in my life because I was holding on to all this stuff. For 40 years, all this stuff I was holding on to, and I finally had to let it go. And when I let it go, my life completely changed, and it took me 40 years to get there. So you can't tell me God can't take 40 years of tragedy and brokenness to turn you into something good. 40 years, and he turned that stuff around for something good. Still don't know what it is yet. I don't know. I really don't know. But for 40 years, that God sat there and he was with me the whole time. I didn't want to know it. I didn't want to feel him. I didn't want to do anything. He was there the entire time, y'all. The entire time God was there. He never left me. I just didn't want to open the door and let him in. And that's so